Welcome to A4's Town Hall about intimacy. I am Lisa Gold, A4's Executive Director, and I'm really excited that you're here for this very intimate town hall, and you're ready to share all your deepest, darkest secrets with us. I'm just kidding. But we know intimacy takes a lot of forms, and we're really excited to hear about how it plays out in your work and what role it has on your practice. So just a few opening remarks here. So for those of you who are familiar with A4, you know that we are dedicated to ensuring greater representation, equity, and opportunities, both for AAPI artists and arts organizations. And we do that through resource sharing, promotion, community building, which is what Town Hall is all about. So who here has been to a Town Hall before? And who is your first time? Oh, wow. Okay, this is awesome. So I think it's like almost 2/3, 1/3. I don't know, my fractions are not what they used to be. But just like a few housekeeping things before we start. We are recording this event on Zoom, and we'll post it on our YouTube channel later if you want to revisit all of your glory. Please silence your phones if you can. If you're interested, if you need the restroom, there's one to the left here, my left. There's one to your left over there by the exit sign. They are non-gendered. And then if anybody wants to get on to the Wi-Fi password to, I don't know, live stream or live tweet, use the Knife of Guess password, and Knife of Guess network, and password is for the arts. We can share it with you. I think it's posted. Oh, it's right there, and it's up on the column by the front door. So for those of you who haven't been here tonight, I'm gonna just give you a rundown on how it's gonna go. So we have 2 featured presenters and 2 groups of short pitches, which are going to be 2 minutes in length this time. They are usually 1 minute, but we are experimenting based on the feedback that we got from prior Town Hall audiences. So we are lengthening the pitches to 2 minutes. So we'll see how it goes. We have a countdown timer that Justine is going to enable here. So when you are pitching, you can see how much time you have left. Please be considerate of others because we have a full schedule and the pitches are longer, so we don't want to have to be here all night. After the first featured presenter, I will call the names of people giving 2-minute pitches, and your names are also going to appear on the slideshow here. So just be ready to go when your name is called, and then we'll repeat the process again after the second featured presenter. And then after all of our featured presenters and our registered pitch artists are done, if you haven't had the chance to speak, you have an idea, you're moved to share, we will have a QR code that, do I need to advance this? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So after we're done, you want to share, we'll have this QR code. We'll keep it up again later, but you can just sign up via that QR code, and you'll pitch for 30 seconds in the order in which you signed up. And then afterwards, we'll have this awesome potluck courtesy of you all. So a couple of quick announcements first. I want to thank, as always, Justine, our programs director, Glenn, our doorman, and Danny Wu, our communications and database manager, for making this event happen. I mentioned that we are recording. If you want to share anything tonight on social, you can use the hashtag A4TownHall and tag us. That would be great. And then we will have a post-event survey, and we will also share this QR code. Again, it's really important because we do listen to you. That's why we changed the format tonight. So we want to know what works for you. We want to make things better. And we will have a random drawing of prizes. We have some books, and maybe we have one other thing. Yes, we do. Okay, that we will share. We always have like weird, goofy prizes. Last time we had a pickleball set, but we have like different things. So please fill out. I know it's not for the glory and the prizes. You do this because you want to help us and make the programs better for you. So we will remind you before you can eat. We will ask you to fill out the survey. It's very, very short. It's like 5 questions. Won't take any time at all. So I also want to share a couple of our upcoming events. So on June 8th, at Flushing Town Hall and on Thursday, June 15th at CPC Senior Center in Manhattan, Chinatown. We are going to have a community share out event for our What Can We Do microgrant program. It's from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. both nights. Because earlier this year, we gave out 30 microgrants, $500 each to an artist to execute a project or an event that showed creative care for the AAPI community. So this was funded through a Stop AAPI Hate grant through the city. And the artist came up with the most incredible, heart-wrenching, beautiful projects. So I hope you will come to one or both of the events and hear what they did, because we're probably going to do it again next year. And if you are so moved and motivated to sign up, you'll want to hear what some of the people did and meet some of our partner organizations. We have another town hall taking place in July 19th. This one's going to be at Asia Art Archive in America, which is such a beautiful space in Brooklyn Heights. And the theme is going to be tracing our histories. So that'll be really fun. Is that an archive? It makes sense, right? Also, you can check out Arlen Huang's exhibition called Corridor Glance at Chelsea Market through May 31st. We co-present that. Every year we do an exhibition with River Mart, our good friends there. And so this show, it's actually one of 3 parts. There's the part in the market, there's a part at the gallery in Chelsea Market, which are works from Arlen's collection, or his archive, excuse me. And then also there are photographs and works from his archive on the tabletops in the meatpacking district. So that's kind of cool. And let's see. Oh, this is also important too. So I don't know if you know this, but a big part of what we do is advocate for our community, and not just for our community, but for all organizations and artists of color and organizations led by and serving people of color. And we've been involved in this appeal, this big coalition for greater budget equity from the city. So organizations including LXNY, Latinx New York organizations, Dance NYC, a lot of others. Because last year, I don't know, I'm getting like in a little wonky weeds here, but the Department of Cultural Affairs is the largest cultural budget in the United States. It's bigger than the it's bigger than the National Endowment for the Arts, biggest budget in the country. And that money goes to organizations like us, but it also goes to the Met and to the zoo and to the botanical gardens. And those institutions are called the CIG groups and cultural institutions groups. And then last year, in an effort to make grant making a little bit more equitable, the city increased the minimum amount of grants for small organizations. So it used to be $5,000, which wasn't even worth the paperwork for small organizations. Now it's $10,000. But in order to do that, they took money away from other small and mid-sized organizations, and they didn't touch the CIGs. So these are organizations that are getting millions of dollars and millions more last year when organizations like A4 and other smaller organizations took a hit, which is not fair. And so we are asking the mayor and city officials to rectify that. And so there's a letter that we've worked on with our coalition to ask for just that, to ask for a fair and equitable budget, because we can't sustain this inequity at the expense of people of color and the organizations that serve them. So I would like you all to scan this code right now and fill out this letter and sign this letter. It's a very simple thing. It's got great statistics. I love this. Yay. All the phones. Yes. Some advocacy and action there. So thank you for that. It's really meaningful and it'll make a difference. Okay, back to A4. We have an online magazine. Have any of you seen the AMP, our online magazine on the website? Yes. Okay, heads nodding. That's good. It's just got amazing content about AAPI arts and culture and artists and creative voices, like our amazing new Jadine Wong fellow, Shannon Yu back there, yay. And so if you want to be part of the AMP, you can pitch us an idea. You have a story, a show that you want to review, an artist that you think we need to cover. So you can just, you can send us an email at theamp@aaartsalliance.org. So lots of things going on with us. We're turning 40 this year. So you can save the date, October 12th. We're going to have our big hoo-ha party. So we'll send out more information about that. But if you sign up for our newsletter, you can get all the information. You won't miss anything. We also have this incredible community calendar, which is free to post your events and learn about other things that are happening in the community. We just got a big shout out on the Culture at 3 call today about how great our calendar is. So you can just, check it out. You can add opportunities. You can learn about jobs, residencies, casting calls, all sorts of great things. So check out the website and our newsletter too. So just a few thanks here. So as always, we want to thank our supporters at Con Edison, the New York City Department of Cultural Affairs, in partnership with the New York City Council and the New York State Council on the Arts, with the support of Governor Kathy Hochul and the New York State Legislature, the National Endowment for the Arts, the New York Community Trust, the Howard Gilman Foundation, and our newest supporter, the Ruth Foundation. We are an Artist Choice winner, and just so many other individuals and corporations for making this event and all of our events possible. So if you want to be one of our supporters, I'm not going to stop you. You can text A4Donate to 202, the number there, 858-1233, or hit these QR codes to donate via PayPal or Zelle. Okay, so before I introduce our first presenter, I just want to do a quick land acknowledgement, because we know that the land designated politically as New York City is actually the homeland of the Lenape, who were violently displaced as a result of European settler colonization over the course of 400 years. And the Lenape are diasporic people who remain closely connected with this land and are actually its rightful stewards. And as an organization that focuses on the rights of underrepresented people and in solidarity with indigenous people, we recognize this history and we uplift the sovereignty of indigenous people and their territories. And we commit to dismantling ongoing settler colonial practices and their implications in our world. So with that, I am going to introduce our first featured presenter, Ani Liu. So Ani is a research-based artist working at the intersection of art and science. Her work examines gender politics, labor, reproduction, simulation, and sexuality, integrating emerging technologies with cultural reflection and social change. Ani's most recent work examines the biopolitics of care work and motherhood. She has received numerous awards, fellowships, and residencies, and her work has been exhibited internationally at venues including the Venice Biennale, Ars Electronica, and the Basel Kunstmuseum. And she's currently an associate professor of practice at UPenn. So I give you a pen.
Okay, great. So I should use this. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm like super thrilled and can't wait to talk about intimacy. Let's see. So just by way of introduction, I'm a research-based artist. I often make work in untraditional environments such as the laboratory, using the tools that scientists and technologists use to investigate themes that they use. Like, I guess I use the same tools to investigate themes that I think artists have always investigated, themes of longing, sexuality, what it means to be a human. I actually grew up here in New York, in Flushing, and currently live in Fresh Meadows. So if you live in Queens, hit me out. I'm trying to build out a Queens artist community. Just to kind of deepen that introduction. So I grew up in Flushing, Queens. I went to public schools here. I always wanted to be an artist, but didn't really understand how to be an artist. Like my mom cleaned hotel rooms for a living. My dad cooked in kitchens. Like the idea of being an artist seems so impossible to me that to this day, I feel so grateful to be one. So I actually came to my practice by way of studying architecture and design. This is the inside of my graduate school, where it's literally so hierarchical that like the graduating students sit on the top and look down on the first year students, like kind of a panopticon. And this was my desk there. I think maybe you could see that I probably wasn't going to become an architect. I spent my thesis year strapping computers to my face. It was the year that Google Glass came out. The Oculus Rift came out. Everyone said that VR and AR was going to be the future, and I ended up writing my thesis or building my thesis around virtuality, simulations, the augmented body. And that work led me to go to MIT at the Media Lab, which looks like this. And there I did work in synthetic biology and became really interested in perfumery and cell culturing. And I think it was an extension in this kind of cyborg body, but with analogy. And these are the snapshots of my current studio. You can see that rent is super expensive, so every square inch is utilized with various forms of storage and organization. So in my journey, I worked in architecture, technology, biological design, and art. And the super nerdy part of me is really interested in how things work and how knowledge is made. And the feeling part of me has its pulse on the body politics of emerging technologies. And like many of you, I have many titles and hats, but the most significant of all, I am also a mother. And I think that's kind of the center of my talk on intimacy today. The experience of having and raising my children really changed my life profoundly, and continues to do so. And so while I've explored other themes in the past, my current research centers on the wide umbrella of care, especially as it relates to the arc of reproduction. So just to briefly show a few projects, this first work I made as I reflected on the importance of paid family leave. When my daughter was born, I made a record of every time she was fed and every time her diaper was changed. Like many kids, when my daughter was born, she lost a lot of weight and the doctor was super concerned, and he would say things like, when was the last time she pooped, or when was the last time she was fed? And I was so sleep deprived, I had no idea. So I programmed my phone and I would literally say, hey Siri, Zoe pooped. Hey Siri, Zoe peed. So you can kind of see this like really intense portrait of how little we slept, actually. So every pink part is a feeding session, and every blue part is a diaper change. And this is a sculpture and data visualization that I made based on the graph that you saw on the previous slide. Each vial represents a diaper change for a feeding session, and then from top to bottom, the 24 hours of the day, from left to right, the 30 days of a month. And I wanted to use the kind of materiality of my experiences. So the vials are actually filled with breast milk or formula or diaper fragments. I became really interested in the kind of materiality of my experiences because I realized until I became a lactating body myself, I had never seen breast milk. And even after I pumped one time, I remember I asked my brother to pass the bottle over to me, and he was like, that's kind of gross. Like, I'm going to touch your bodily fluids in a bottle. And I don't know, it really made me think about our kind of cultural relationship to these kind of materials. This is just an image of some of those material tests that I did to make breast milk shelf stable. And breast milk has this really like amazing color. It's different color, or it was a different color for me every day based on my diet and what I ate, like from blue to like creamy yellow orange. So I don't know, for me as an artist, I'm so interested in how the government is so intent on regulating bodies with uteruses, and yet there's no support for actually what happens after that baby is made. So I became interested in breast milk as a material too, because it was so heavily censored. I learned that it wasn't legal to breastfeed in public in all 50 states until 2018. That's like yesterday, ridiculous. And it's not just censored in person, right? It's also censored online, like Facebook bans the images of nipples. And so breastfeeding is censored in so many ways. So just zooming back to the work, it's a super intimate portrait of my experience, but I think it's a fairly universal portrait for anyone who's ever cared for an infant. And it's my hope that work like this will engage in a broader conversation about the lack of paid parental leave in the US. I myself didn't have paid parental leave, so I started teaching again, I think 5 days after I gave birth. And so I had a very intimate relationship with my breast pump. And I just wanted to say that different people choose to feed their infants differently, like from formula to breast milk. I'm not here to judge at all. But this was my experience with lactating. With my son, I was teaching so soon after giving birth that the experience of lactation for me became really linked to the sound of my pump. And this is a sculpture that kind of explores that, both the labor and my biological experience. This is the amount of breast milk that I create in a week, the amount that I pumped, and it's being pumped in a sculpture to a rhythm, the rhythm of my breast pump. I became really interested in the history of breast pumps, like just thinking about technologies that either liberate or inhibit. And of course, it's not so black and white like that. I was thinking about how in the US, having technologies like the breast pump allow like an employer to kind of hang a sign on a broom closet that says lactation space, and now you have to come back to work like immediately, instead of having all of this kind of infrastructural support. And this is a portrait series by artist Corinne Botts that I really love. She took real pictures of lactation spaces of mothers who work. And so literally you see like the conditions of where these lactation spaces are. And then on an epistemological level, you know, I discovered that despite the fact that 8.5 out of every 10 persons with uteruses will give birth at least once, in PubMed, there are twice as many papers about erectile dysfunction than there are about breast milk. So I think it's kind of interesting, again, like as a cultural material, as like a material of knowledge, so understudied. And it's a project that I'm currently working on in my studio. I recently received a grant to conduct a project about the presence of microplastics in breast milk. So I'm kind of continuing to explore this personal acts of care, to like, I guess, personal acts of care from my own body to bodies beyond. And I think I'm at 8 minutes, so I'll move along a little faster. Just 2 more projects. This is a project, I guess, on the note of gender and design. Trained as a designer after I gave birth, I was kind of shocked at how many plastic things entered my house. And my first child is a girl, and so I got all these pink things, and it reminded me of this photo series that I really love by artist Youngmi Yoon called Pink and Blue, where she, with the, I guess, permission of parents, goes into children's homes and sorts their objects by color and takes portraits. This is just a few slides on the history of toys. I did a similar project. I was inspired by that, where I pixel sorted all the toys that I found from Amazon and Walmart by color. So you can see girls' toys, boys' toys, and then I fed them to a machine learning algorithm. I guess this is pre-chat GPT, but I became interested. I like asked a AI model, based on what you've learned on our toys, can you invent new toys? And it invented sassy things like the yo-yo lip gloss DIY squishy doll me up. And I was really interested in like what toys tell us about how we teach gender to kids. So this is the I can change anything because girl power, and then it adds kitchen because it's like it's gotta have something domestic or princess or cuddly. And there's an AI toy store. And this is kind of the sculptural presentation of it. I was really interested in collecting and ownership and what it means to have something. Also, just as the child of immigrants growing up, I remember collecting Beanie Babies really helped me assimilate and make friends. My brother had Pokemon cards. So the idea of collecting other iterations of that work. I think I just have a minute, so maybe I'll just skip through some of them. This is a project about artificial wombs. I was learning about interspecific pregnancy, where one species can carry the babies of another. This is a sculpture that I did where I explored genetically engineered pigs that would carry human fetuses. Kind of thinking about, you know, I came across this great writer, Shulamith Firestone, who talks about how as long as women carry the biological burden of birth, there can never be gender equality. And I guess I was just kind of sitting with that and creating this sculpture, thinking about artificial wombs and what that means. I guess just to be clear, I think that we should have more like structural and systemic support, not necessarily like science fiction type innovations. I think I'm over time and I want to help keep to time. So I'm just going to skip through these slides and just say thank you.
Thank you. All right, so now we are going to proceed with our registered pictures. Oh, everybody note that we'll send you a copy of the slides tomorrow. So if you want to get more information, people's websites, their Instagram handles, whatever, you'll have that information. And it's also on our website. I think most of it is on the website related to this event. Okay, so next up will be Paul Hochiko, Sita Choi, Charlene Kay, Kyung Kang, Wei Min Chuang, Kyle Louis, and Marie Lloyd Paspa. So if you all are, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Jesus. Okay, so we'll start with Paul. Okay, so I'll have the little
thing there that'll show you 2 minutes. Okay, okay. Or I did have it. I think Justine has it now.
I have it.
Okay, Justine has it.
For best.
And then I'm good to go.
She'll tell you when you're good.
Yeah. You're good to go.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Paulo Chico. I use he, him pronouns. I'm also from Queens. I live in Jackson Heights and I grew up in Elmhurst. So that's cool. I did the Embodying Pleasure as Resistance as part of the first cohort of What Can We Do, the micro grant last summer. It was a movement and mindfulness workshop on bringing sense of play to our inner child through collective care. And I was also on a paid family leave in the beginning of the year. I spent 3 months in the Philippines with my partner, Melanie, who co-created the program with me. And by chance, we were there for family, but also got to share the workshop to different places. And especially in Siargao, which is the surfing capital of the Philippines, and it was hit by Typhoon Odette. There's a lot of land-based NGOs, and there's one called Local Lab that we shared, and they're interested in having us come back for a longer duration, like 3 to 4 months. So part of the pitch internationally is if there are any leads to international funding that might be environmentally based for artists, that would be great, open to any leads. And then for a local ask, if there are any organizations that you know that might be interested in doing a version of Embodying Pleasure as Resistance and catering it to local needs, we'd love to bring it back, having learned both here in New York and abroad in the Philippines. So thanks for the time. Lots of love to A4.
Thanks, Paul. Okay, next up is Sita Choi. No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Charlene.
Charlene, we'll go Charlene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, Charlene.
I loved your show, by the way.
Thank you so much.
So good.
Thanks for coming. May I use a clicker or should I just use the? Okay, perfect, thanks. Must have my PowerPoint. Safety blanket. Hi, I'm Charlene. I'm a musician. I'm an actor. I'm also a podcast host. I host a podcast called Golden Hour with Charlene K that spotlights Asian musicians. I'm here to talk about my show that I wrote and performed about my Chinese immigrant mother. It is called Tiger Daughter, about my tiger mother. The show talks about ways in which we've disagreed fundamentally over the years and misunderstood each other. I defied her very ardent wish that I would play Carnegie Hall by the time I was 12, and instead I became her worst nightmare, which is a slutty shredder in an all-girl Guns N' Roses cover band, which has the tagline, "Welcome to the jungle." Yeah, my aunties and uncles loved it. The show talks about ways in which we've misunderstood each other throughout the years. I've disappointed her over and over and over again. This is an example of the time that she bribed me $300 to get her haircut. This is real. I was 19 and then she pulled my hair close to hers at a restaurant and she went, "Do we look like sisters?" And so her life's dream to just continue to look as youthful as possible and for me to, be her mini-me. These are examples of texts that she sent me over the years of men that she wants to set me up with. But the only problem is this guy is 19. This guy is a homosexual and this person is still married. So I will be performing it again in LA and in Chicago. The last 2 shows that I performed in New York sold out. My vision for it long-term is to continue to develop it, hopefully turn it into an hour-long television special and potentially write a narrative piece where I act and perform in it. So I would love to meet you all and hear about your tiger mothers and tiger fathers. Thank you so much, Lisa, for inviting me to speak, and we're at time. Thank you. You can stay on that slide if you want.
All right, next up, Kyung Hong. Okay.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Kyung Kang. I'm a Korean interdisciplinary artist. I mostly perform and also do installations, video, and photography. Today, I want to talk about my ongoing performance series is called Care Package. I have developed this project for over the last 15 years. Since I live in New York City, my mother has been sending me care packages, and this became a basis for my performance project. The performance begin with me carrying a care package, which my mother sent to me from South Korea. This package is unpacked over the course of performance, incorporating sound, object, and movement. As you see a lot of object, like a mundane object, and this is a Korean ginseng extract, which is very good for your health. The performance exemplifies the importance of family relationships and explore the notions of home, distance, and love. So my mother sent me a lot of underwear. I had to wear it in front of the public in the streets. So it was very intimate. Yeah, I'm planning doing a performance this fall. And if you are interested in coming to my show, please follow on my Instagram. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Mia Rubin. Okay, just on deck, Wei Ming. Wei Ming, you're gonna be next. Okay.
Okay. Hi, sorry, I did not realize I was next. But this is really funny because I used to be an assistant at A4 when I was, I don't know, 20 or 21. So it's fun to pitch. But hi, I'm Mia Rubin. Nice to meet everyone. I am now working at a park at the Fort Greene Park Conservancy in Brooklyn. I thought I had an image, but that's okay. But basically, I came to pitch about our Chinese and Spanish language film series. We just had our first film on May 17th. We screened Wong Kar-wai's Chungking Express. So on June 1st, we are going to screen Police Story 3 Super Cop by Stanley Tong. So Jackie Chan and Michelle Yeoh. It's going to be a very fun, like 1990s action flick. So I hope you guys come out and see it. And we've got a ton of just free films this summer in the park. So maybe the goal of this is me trying to get you to come and enjoy just free programming and sitting and being cozy with each other on picnic blankets and bringing food into the park as long as you bring it out and just having a really good time. Our mission is really just to nurture Fort Greene Park as a public space, and my personal goal is just to like do fun queer programming all summer. Yeah, and that is the website, and that has our calendar of events and then also the Instagram. So I'm also going to be around if you want to come get my card or say hi, but I hope to see you guys in Brooklyn. Thank you. Oh, nice to see you.
Whoops, wrong way. Whoops. Okay, yeah. I don't have anything to show. So.
Oh, okay.
Hello, I'm new to A4 and I only got to know Lisa by her generosity to feature one of my solo shows that I recently had in Queens, in Flushing, Queens, Focal Org Museum. And that particular show landed me an article on Forbes because I only started painting and drawing 3 years ago during COVID. So if anybody is wondering whether you could be an artist, I could say you can definitely be an artist. If I could at 50, when I started doing my first, actually 48, I started doing my first drawing.
And ever since I've been showing, I have 3 invitations on group shows and activities that's happening in my life that are related to art. So the first one is I partner with 13 other artists with the Taiwanese American Artist Council and Yale University to emphasize the importance of mental health for Asians, particularly creators and artists in general. So we have a show for those who live in Queens, particularly at the QCC Museum Gallery right now that launched only 2 weeks ago. That's going to be through until June 30th. So I invite you all to go and take a look and even to check out the museum. It's actually lovely in conjunction with their African American collection. So it's a beautiful museum if you have never been there. Now, number 2 invitation I'd like to extend at the moment is on Governors Island. There's that Island to Island show ongoing. And I have, I think, a few 3 to 5 pieces there right now. That actually highlights my journey from Taiwan to Governors Island. And if you never, how many of you have been to Governors Island? Okay, a lot of you, but not all of you. I want to let you know a secret. There's extra ferries coming on board starting in June that actually can get you to Governors Island Friday and Saturdays. And I'm going to invite you to the opening reception at Nolan Park, building number 7B for Governors Island's Island to Island show on June 10th from 5 to 8. So show up and you can take the last ferry. I think it goes out of 10 or something like that. So I see I'm running out of time. So the last invite I was going to extend is on June 3rd. If you are in Queens at the Cultural Lab, I have a large piece that getting installed for this lovely show called Breaking Boundaries. Art exhibit. So it's on June 3rd. It's from 6 to 9. And if you go earlier, there's a concert also. So have fun. The last ask I'll ask is, since I'm really new in all this lovely field of art, if you have any stories or how I could get involved with the gallery as my next goal, please do share the story with me. I would like to get prepared. So thank you so much. And thank you, A4, for the opportunity. And I have to say, I got sent here by the board of director, Amy Tao, who went to my show in Queens. So thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Is Kyle here? Yeah, here. You have slides?
I think they're up.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be. Sorry, I think we might be using an older version of the keynote. So I apologize, Mia, that it was sort of unexpected. Hopefully things will work out. But yes, Kyle, you're up.
Thanks for the slides. Hi, everyone. I'm Kyle Louie. It's nice to meet everyone. I'm a photographer based in New York City, born and raised here. And I'll be sharing some of my work from a project that I've titled Sowing Rice with Salt. Basically, what I've done for this project, I've taken photos of immigrant parents from family albums and recreated them with their children. And then what's not pictured here because of the screen, I thought would be a little small, but I've also taken like a page of writing from the child about the impact of immigration on their intergenerational relationship. And so I'll show some of the dictates. Yeah, and so the pitches. So the project will be exhibiting at Photoville in Brooklyn Bridge Park from June 3rd through 18th. I'll be there on the June 3rd and June 4th. If you'd like to learn more about the project, it just got featured on CNN last Friday. And I'm still looking for folks to include in the project. So if you're interested, hit me up. Yeah, and I'm eventually hoping to make this into a book.
All right, next up is Sita. Che.
Yes. And so I'll just be here.
Hi, my name is Sita. I'm a musician expanding into a multidisciplinary area, including installation art, film, and general performance art. I'm from Korea, and my background is classical violinist, and being in New York really inspired me to open up to many different folk music and different practices of psychotherapy. I have a Korean shaman ritual project that is for the contemporary global citizens, and also have a new project called Multidimensional Human, which is a collaboration between music and psychotherapy. This particular work is inspired by my pregnancy during pandemic time. And I was really touched by all the people who showed kindness, curiosity, and protection. That was, neighbor from homeless people or just clerk. And I was really touched because for me, that was a reminder that we all have this caring and honor for human life. And just because I looked like a pregnant woman, they showed, they seem to be connecting into their capacity of care. So that was the film inspired by that.
Harmony, fly, strong, connect, explore, your own way.
And this was an architect that was inspired by a women's womb. This was in upstate. And filmed by Lee Milby, who's also Asian director.
Okay, thank you. All right, last but not least, Marie. Yay, okay. And close out group A.
Oh, amazing. Oh, yeah, so I'm gonna try, so we have to do this. Go. Yes, that's perfect. Thank you. Hi everyone. My name is Marie Lloyd Paspe, and I'm a director, choreographer, dance and vocal performer, writer, and educator that's based in Brooklyn. And it's good to see friends and new people here. I am presenting a work called Boomalik that I've been working on for about 2 years with 6 other collaborators. And we are performing our piece in its full evening length on December 8 and December 9 this year at Green Space LIC. For this portion of for this version of the work, we are bringing sound, installation, and movement in an anti-hierarchical way, trying to remove the distinction between what is discipline and what is interconnectedness. And I would like to show an excerpt of the work to inspire people to come watch our show and inspire funding for folks who may feel called to support us monetarily, and also to build, I think, interest. I think I want to ask for support in a way that trying to build a platform for our voices as Asian American, specifically femme and non-binary voices that are not necessarily heard specifically in the choreographic and director world, that I find I would appreciate and call to arms our energy into supporting each other, and also to feel support as a director and choreographer. So I would like to play, oh, sorry. I would like to play 30 seconds or a minute if possible, maybe 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
30 seconds is okay, sorry, 30 seconds. And I will sing a lullaby that my mom sang for me. Oh, I will take the music. Oh, thank you, okay. Oh.
Oh, I think that's what's happening.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Sorry. Taking your time. Okay. Sanay di magmali ang dati kong araw. Ni nanay. Maui. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Let's give it up for everybody in all right. So next up, our second featured presenter is Parissah Lin. Parissah is an educator, researcher, and media maker. Their focus interrogates visual and performance arts as a site through which diasporic, indigenous, and post-colonial identities can resist, refuse, or subvert the violence produced by colonialism and imperialism. They are a founding member of the Yellow Jackets Collective, a queer, intersectional, and interdisciplinary collective of East Asians collaborating towards radical futures that centralize marginalized bodies. I give you Parissah.
Me, right? Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. I'm Parissah. I am here representing Yellow Jackets Collective, which is my chosen family. And I thought that would be a good topic for intimacy. I am a practitioner, I'm an educator, I'm a researcher, I'm sometimes an artist, and I cry a lot, but I eliminated that from the bio because I thought that would be a little bit much. So Yellow Jackets Collective has been my home and my family for the last 7 years, and thinking about intimacy is kind of a barrier for me, and as I'm sure for a lot of people with families of migrational experience, especially non-consensual migration or forced migration. And like a lot of people, chosen family was like a replacement for a lot of the trauma from that childhood and from kind of trying to engage in intimacy and questions of belonging in the self. So Yellow Jackets Collective was formed. I'm going to do a little cough, sorry. Just terrible asthma, not COVID. Yellow Jackets Collective was formed in 2015, originally with 6 people and then 4 people and now 3 people. The numbers fluctuated over the years, and this is also due to the question of how do we create intimacy born out of trauma? We came together out of anger, out of loneliness, looking for a place to call home, and specifically in response to the death of Grace Lee Boggs and the uprisings of 2014 and 2015, when we didn't really see ourselves in the street. And the question of anger always came up for us, as it does, I think, for many people, especially in the face of the model minority myth, which asks us to be subdued and quiet and all of the other things that go along with it. So we were angry Asians. YJC is a queer, intersectional, yellow American collective collaborating towards radical futures that centralize marginalized bodies. We've written a bunch of manifestos. They're always about collaboration. They're always about futurity. They're always about documenting our history and always about leveraging the resources that we have access to through institutional spaces or through our proximity to whiteness, and trying to make sure that we can distribute them to as many people in our community as possible. We use the word yellow to put ourselves in the legacy of Yellow Peril, and also Merle Wu's Yellow Woman Speaks. Also to acknowledge the fact that we are all East Asian American. I'm Taiwanese American and Iranian American, and despite the fact that I'm here on unceded Lemate, Hokkien, and Narsi territory, trying to think about the fact that we need ancestral specificity when doing this work because of the way that colonialism really lumps us together based on our trauma. So one of our initial tools of intimacy and thinking about intimacy as an architecture of relation is collaboration. The first collective that invited us in to work with them was a longtime collaborator and family, Bufu Bias a collective that works around Black and Asian solidarity, cultural exchange, and violences. We were invited into a month of programming in a space that they took over, and they really taught us what it means to share resources with the community, to say we have access to a space, who wants to come here? We curated an exhibition called Are You For Real? An exhibition on authenticity and anger, to try and open up this space of intimacy. What does it mean when you're actually forging relationships based in conflict or based in pain and trauma? What does that mean about the closeness that you can accomplish or the things that you can't actually accomplish through that? And we learned a lot of really difficult lessons through this process. This is an artist, Evan Morris's collage work. The artist panel with about 12 participating artists, where my boss actually came and interrupted and demanded a Q&A when there was not one. And this is a performance that I did, which is, I think, rooted in grief and intimacy. As I mentioned, I'm also Iranian American, and so sad little mixed kid woes, not being able to see yourself in spaces, but also feeling a loss of mother tongue, feeling a loss of land, and trying to engage in grief practices and prayer through thoughts that I had while waking up every morning before the 4 a.m. So as I mentioned, one of our kind of architectures of intimacy is collaboration. And when I'm thinking about intimacy, I think a lot about Grace Lee Boggs talking about relationships as the refusal for the corporate empire and the refusal for the isolation that's brought on by the capitalist heteropatriarchy and white supremacy. So this is from a project called Stemming the Patriarchy at the New Museum, where we invited folks in to kind of share about familial trauma and contribute to a larger constellation of what it means to belong and to be angry. This is another way that we try to leverage resources, specifically through highlighting artists' work who don't necessarily have access to institutional spaces. So this is Devin Morris, who invited us to their Brown Paper Zine and Small Press Fair, where we were able to table and sell the work of over 25 different artists. And this became an ongoing practice. What are the material realities of artists living in the United States, especially artists of color, queer artists, and femme artists? Speaking to the last person's point, I think that one of the things that really drew us together was the question of feminized labor. During the period of uprisings, a lot of people were in the streets, but there were always questions of who takes care of you afterwards, who feeds you afterwards, who does that slow work of repair. And we often saw that with the women and femmes and the non-binary people in our lives, the people who were marginalized or shunted aside, especially after the glorified work of kind of being in the streets was done. So how do we keep people going? We sell their work. I'm going to speed through these. These are just other examples of collaborations that we've done. Working intergenerationally has been an incredible tool for building this intimacy, trying to think about how we can repair the trauma inside of us by trying to build across lines of solidarity and across generations. These are some more examples of collaborations with Bufu, community resources, and potlucks. Resource shares are an incredible way for us to build up our memory and history. A lot of us kind of bore the pain of learning about ourselves through institutional knowledge or through people who are outside of our community because we had our own barriers speaking to our families. And after that, we realized that it was our kind of calling to be able to share what we had with other people and also with the hungry hopes that they would share back. Another architecture of our relationships were convenings. I'm thinking a lot about Mia Mingus's concept of access intimacy here, which is a premise that comes out of Crippen disability theory about who you have access to and who has access to you by getting your needs. Convenings were a way for us to engage specifically in pleasure. We spent a lot of time being angry, we spent a lot of time grieving, but we also spent a lot of time as queer people looking for ourselves in pleasure spaces. And so convenings were a way for us to make them on our own. First, through a series of residencies. This one is called Squint and You'll See, which was at the power plant, in which we invited a number of different artists and community members to also participate in workshops. Workshops being the exchange of knowledge and the space where we can horizontally create and learn together. Through convening at protests and drawing on the legacy of Yellow Peril supporting Black Power. Through protests in museums when the white gaze was creating violence and separating our community unwillingly and willingly, trying to create lines of solidarity that were visible and public, and to say that it's okay to be angry, especially with our Black and Indigenous comrades. This is specifically a convening that we held after the elections when we realized that we were getting calls from all of our family and community members saying they were angry or they were scared or they had skills that they wanted to share. And so this was a convening of, I think, about 700 people at the Brooklyn Museum, where we had sound healers, self-defense workshops, TCM practitioners, kind of all manner of people sharing their skills. What does it mean to be a connector? What does it mean for your greatest skill to be bringing people together? I see that in a lot of the artworks that a lot of people are creating here, and in the absence of actually a material solid thing that we can put together, we have space. Finally, learning intergenerationally with folks like AAPI and CAV has always been something that really roots us back in the space. I'm a transplant in New York. I've lived here for about 12 years. I feel very honored to be in the presence of folks who have grown up here. But what does it mean to have access to space? And what does it mean to learn from folks who didn't necessarily choose to be here? The last way is through gathering and through feeding. Bufu really taught us how to create community guidelines. Intimacy is in line with boundaries, is in line with relationships as a kind of architecture of belonging, and trying to think about what makes people feel safe. Safety has always been defined for us by a state that doesn't necessarily want to keep us that way and wants to extract from us. So we learned to create our own community safety guidelines, which we adjusted for every event. And we have people read them at the door before they come into any event that we can. This is our first Queer Lunar New Year party, which is something that we became known for. This was at Mission Chinese Food, and we were inviting people to engage in pleasure spaces as queer Asian Americans. We got in a little bit of trouble because we had a really intense sliding scale pricing. And that was kind of the thing that brought us into a space of how do we make this as accessible as possible to the people that have been barred from these spaces, who haven't seen themselves in these spaces? And how do we make it inaccessible to the folks who make us feel violence or harm when we're around them? Here's a couple more of our Queer Lunar New Year parties. Trying to be mindful of time. This one's in the Knockdown Center and involved an altar to ancestors. And then our last one in 2020, before the pandemic hit, was actually a banquet, a collaboration with both and a way for us to really give thanks to our community. Many of us draw on senses of belonging from feeding, and being able to feed each other felt incredibly important. So finally, I just, before we close, want to talk specifically about solidarity. For the last 3 years, our collective has been a little bit quiet, but that's because we've been supporting each other in other ways and trying to learn how to be in intimate spaces and not be so outwardly focused. So this is a mutual aid resource that we collaborated on with about 20 different people when COVID hit. This is a workshop that we did on legacies of care and yellow peril. This is our contextualization. We really deeply believe in citation and not believing in unprecedented times, because we know that our ancestors have been working towards this for generations. And finally, I love resources. And before I close out, I just want to, I guess there's more. I just want to acknowledge the two other people in the collective, Mish Ling and Toby Her. Toby is, I think, somewhere in this room. There you are. These are the people that taught me about intimacy. These are the people that taught me how to move past my paralysis and move past my anger, or move with my anger, and teach me things like accountability and how to move through conflict and still be loved. So I want to leave with you with the question of what are the intimacies and what are the collections of care that teach you to practice this and be soft with yourself and others? What teaches you to hone your rage and wield your passion? And I want to thank you. Here's this.
Thank you so much, Chris. That was amazing. I'm just going to think about that. All right, as we get ready, the mic is not on.
Now it's on. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, I don't. Probably wasn't you. All right. We're going to get ready for our second group of presenters. So we have Haley Savage, Melanie de Guzman, Sophia Park, Jian Ko, C.E. Chen, Zoe Kim, and Priya Mishra. So I think Haley, you'll be going first once we get set up here. Do you have slides? Okay.
It was like one foot.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Do you want me to? No, we can get started here. Okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can start.
Hi all. Oh my gosh, there's a lot of you. My name's Haley. I've met some of you in the room, so thank you. Hi. And I'm the co-founder of Keepsake House. We are a home for independent artists to share the stage and make memories out of live performance. Most of my team is actually sick right now, so they couldn't come with me, but my co-founder and our entire volunteer team, and therefore many of the artists we work with, are Asian American. And we are very deliberate about having a majority AAPI artist network. We host both a residency of artists as well as monthly shows at Rockwood Music Hall currently, and more open mics, et cetera, et cetera. And Charlene's in this room, she's performed with us before. I think two things about us that are kind of inherently intimate. The first is that our shows are round tables, so artists actually share the stage together for the whole time, which means that you're not just watching a performance, but you're actually watching relationships form in real time in front of you. And the second thing that I think is really intimate is that we use conversation and we implement conversation into every single one of our shows. So it's not just music, it's also storytelling. Our next show is called Found Family. Speaking of chosen family, it is a fully queer show hosted by one of our queer artists with 6 other queer artists, all performing in it. It's on June 15th at Rockwood Music Hall, and it'll also be streamed online. It's one of our kind of most intimate, vulnerable, but I think incredible themes we've ever had. And what we're looking for, of course, please attend the show if you're free and interested. That would be amazing. We're also always looking for volunteers, other artists. If you're a musician or a storyteller, come talk to me. And we also are looking for organizations and companies that are willing to donate for a raffle. All of the proceeds for this show will be donated to a trans rights organization based in Tennessee. Thank you.
Okay, Melanie, you're next, and then Sophia, if you can get ready to be on deck. Okay.
Hi, my name is Melanie, and lately I've been asking myself 2 questions. Where can I create self-confident action, and what can I do to contribute that will open my heart and inspire me and others? For the past 6.5 years, almost 7, here in New York, I've been blessed to supplement my acting and dance career through teaching artistry. I've had the blessings to teach all over 5 boroughs of New York City my inclusive and neurodivergent curriculums using movement as medicine and sound as healing. I've collaborated with folks in the diaspora. Next slide. I've collaborated with folks in diaspora in mindfulness and movement. I've had a residency in Fotografiska working with a Swedish artist, turning images into sound healing meditations. I just got back from Philippines for 3.5 months, finding a sense of belonging. I was with my partner, and we were so blessed to 3 times have the opportunity to share our workshop, Embodying Pleasure as Resistance to 3 different places. And now, as I tune inward, I have a vision, a calling that I'm birthing, possibly creating an AAPI-centered women's circle, a place where a bi-monthly gathering where we can create 3rd spaces for communal and cultural exchange, a space where everyone can hold each other with respect while inviting more rest in other parts of their lives, an inclusive circle where we can breathe, meditate, dance, oral storytelling. So the ultimate goal is to transcend ideologies and work towards collective care so we can all continue circulating abundance in different ways. So looking for people that are interested, I'm still birthing this, and donated venues and homes. Thank you.
Okay, next up, Sophia Park. Do you have the, oh, I've got it, okay. Sophia, okay, great. Okay, and then after Sophia is Jian Ko. So Jian, get ready, you're next, okay. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me through the mic? The mask on?
My name is Sophia Park. Her. I was born in Gumi, South Korea, and I've been living in New York for the past 10 years. I'm a curator, writer, and arts administrator, and most of my time is spent as the director of external relations at Fracture Atlas, which is a national nonprofit art service organization. When not doing that, my current interests lie in the politics of friendship, entanglement, and soft archiving. Soft archiving kind of refers to a more expansive understanding of archiving beyond the gathering of objects to include gathering, borrowing, eating, storytelling. I'm moved by how friendship as structure works in our current society and how it informs how we create connections over differences and similarities, and also how they build notions of collectivities. One manifestation of this was my participation in the Nina Bell F. House Museum. I didn't realize there'd be so many people, but I brought little pamphlets, maybe if you want to check them out later. Most recently, which was presented at the Singapore Biennial this year. It was an experiment to kind of understand the roles of fermentation and institutional archiving and ecosystem taking care of our ecosystem. And one portion kind of led to another project, which was to make a was part of a larger curatorial project. And one portion was to make a collective zine, which actually one of the participants, Kellen, was part of. And we made a collective zine together. 7 of us did it together. So if you want to check it out, I'll have this later. And I'm looking to kind of continue these experiments, trying to think through archiving friendship as structure and as framework for us to kind of gather and be together and take care of each other. So if anyone's interested in that, let me know. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Sophia. Next up is Jian Ko, and then after Jian will be C.E. Chen.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jian, and that is Greg unpacking a guitar because we're going to play some music for you. But yeah, we are Jian and Greg. We are an indie soul duo based in Brooklyn, in New York City. We are also the co-hosts of a podcast called Kajok, which means family in Korean. And we talk about the joys, the struggles, and the beauty of being Asian American. I'm a writer, I'm also an activist, and Greg and I are also caregivers to an immigrant parent, my dad, who has metastatic cancer. And so these are all the hats that we wear on a daily basis to support ourselves and my family. And so the first pitch that I wanted to throw out there is to ask for your support. We have a Patreon, and that is how we, that's how we garner support. And basically it's a place where you can monthly support your favorite creators. And if you want to support us, that would be amazing. We would love that. And it's a monthly or yearly subscription. And so that's the first thing. And the second thing is we have 3 shows happening this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Sunday are all AAPI lineups. We would love to see you there. We only have a minute left. So now I'm going to sing a song. It's called Together Apart. Thank you. What if I lose my way? What if you don't stay? What if it all falls apart? What if you break my heart? What if I let you in? What if you let me down again? What if you change your mind? We can go back in time together, apart, together, apart. You.
Okay, next, C, you're here. Okay, awesome. And then Zoe Kim.
Hi, everyone. My name is Xi. I'm from China, a small town in China, about 3 hours drive from Shanghai. I've been in New York City for about 10 years. I came here for school and work. I was a journalist for a few years, and then I started doing long form documentaries. So now I'm an independent documentary filmmaker. A lot of the stories are about immigrant experience, women in the diaspora, and also US-China relations, some current affairs, social issue related.
So I have two projects I want to talk about. This one is a film I edited. It's a short film that will screen next week at NYU. And it's Immigrant Story, directed by a pianist. But she made this film in memory of her father, who escaped the Sino-Japan War and came here and found comfort in music. And the cool thing about this film is the main star of the show is Chang Wei-chan, and I don't know if you know ballet, but he is history making because he's the first Chinese American principal dancer with the New York City Ballet, and it's a short film, but he's a beautiful performance in this movie. And the next project I'm working on is a feature film about a ballroom in Flushing, where elderly Asian American immigrants come to dance and to flirt. So they're outside of the ballroom, their grandparents, and then they get groceries 5 a.m. But here they dress up with heavy makeup, and there's a lot of politics in like who sits at what table, who's dancing with who's getting more attention. So it's a really endearing and I hope a funny story, but it's also a story about community. So I'm here just to meet people who I might collaborate if you work in the documentary space. Also have leads on funding about organizations. So this is supported by the New York State Council of the Arts, but feature film costs a lot of money, so I'm still fundraising. Also, if you have an uncle or aunt that is a master ballroom dancer and has a story to tell, please also let me know. Thank you.
Zoe? All right, time this shit. I'm ready. Let's go. Okay. Should I have a clicker? Yeah, you want it? Okay. You want it? Oh, you can do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. I can do it. Okay. Great. Hi, I'm Zoe Kim. Oh, this is tall. I'm short. I'm the founder of Soulful Production, and our mission is to tell the stories of the Korean American diaspora for theater, TV, and film. And we also provide AAPI artist workshops. Our show, Did You Eat or 밥 먹었니? Will only have 6 previews in New York before we head to Edinburgh Fringe Festival in Scotland. So definitely don't snooze on getting your tickets, which goes on sale on May 30th. More information about the show and how to buy tickets can be found on this postcard. So please pick one up for me. Save the date on June 25th for a Pay What You Can playwriting one-day intensive with Xiang Im, who is an incredible playwright and also the winner of the 2022 Yale Drama Series Prize. We will be announcing how to sign up on June 7th on our Instagram, so follow us at Soulful Production, and we hope to see you there. Our short film, Phone Call, has been making its way around the globe, getting into 12 film festivals and sweeping awards, including Best Comedy. So to catch a local screening with us, follow us at Soulful Productions. Oh, what was that? You can't get enough of Soulful Productions and you want to tell everybody how much you love and support us? Oh my God, don't worry, I got you. Here is our epic collaboration merchandise with AAPI-owned businesses that you can spend your money on right now. First item are these beautiful necklace and earrings that are handmade by Korean American jewelry designer and musician Jacqueline Wells. And second item is this totally cool anime anabolic graphic tee by Chinese American apparel designer Kevin Wang. I'm modeling all of these items, so come check me out and then go support them. Yes. So everything I just talked about can be found on our website, soulfulproductions.com.org. So check us out, grab the postcard for me. Okay, bye, thanks.
Okay, and the last, oops, wrong direction. Is that?
Yeah, I think there's a little.
Okay. Whoop, wrong slide. Okay. Priya, are you here? Okay. Close out your fee here. Okay.
The LSWR canceled my train. I think that was the reason everyone shuffled around. So thank you so much. Okay, and sorry. Fabulous. Hi, everyone. My name is Priya Mishra. I'm a director and screenwriter based here in New York, and I'm here today to pitch to you my film Caucasia Escalenza, which has just entered pre-production. So this is a narrative short that is secretly a magical realist documentary based off of a very real and very devastating day I had working at a pumpkin patch in fall of 2020.
So in the story, our South Asian protagonist girl, who is a recent graduate, aspiring artist, and newly minted disappointment to her family, brings home a colocasia plant from her job. It's a plant catered towards a certain echelon of society, one she seems super sleek and put together people by. She hopes that with her, she's wanted one for years, and depressed and desperate, she hopes that it can prove that she can provide herself with some happiness, even when she's dying inside. Instead, it manifests her inner child and her deadliest inner critic, forcing her to confront her self-hatred. So I wrote this story because I came home that day from a pumpkin patch and I was at the end of my rope, and I truly thought that I could either try and write or I would literally have to go. And I was just so, one second. So I knew that I wasn't meeting these kind of implicit family set standards that I was supposed to meet. And it made me feel so lonely and like hopeless and alienated. And I really, really hated myself for it. And I realized that I spoke to myself in ways that I would never speak to another living person. But I also kind of was forced to realize through writing that every time I spoke to myself that way, I wasn't just speaking to myself, I was speaking to every previous version of me, including that little tiny me that had already been so hurt. So why am I making this movie? It's because you kind of need to make peace with your past if you have any hopes of moving forward in your life. That's especially true if you're trying to stay true to your own essential self, as opposed to kind of being molded by all these expectations around you. So I want other people who may have felt this way to feel less alone. And it's not easy being a parent, and I never asked to be a mother, but I believe every day that we choose to live and every moment we choose to live is proof that we're rooting for ourselves and a better day ahead. So always seeking funding, wanting co-collaborators and co-conspirators, and you can reach me at my socials. So thank you guys so much.
All right, well, let's give it up for everybody in okay. So if you were so moved, if there's something now that you want to share, an announcement that you want to make, somebody that you're looking for, something that you need, hit this QR code and sign up, and fill out the form. I'll have to stall for time here. I wish I had like dad jokes or something, but we don't have any. So, all right, is there anybody that wants to go? Yeah, go ahead. Tell us your name. You can come up, and then everybody else fill out the form while. Oh, hey. Good. Okay, yeah, then you can just get a
quick, 30 seconds, yeah.
You got 30 seconds.
Hey everyone, my name is Neil Hamamoto. I'm a visual artist. I make sculpture, installation, photography. I also have a social practice that is comes into the world by way of a not-for-profit organization that's Bushwick based. We're called Worthless Studios. Our mission is to support young career artists through the process of art making. So we have a warehouse with tons of tools, tons of space. We're also a community-based organization, so we provide our space as a platform for other organizations. Many of you have pitched, other artists. We have an open call now for visual artists, so to find out more, worthlessstudios.org. It's a visual artist residency for 3 months starting in September with material stipend, living stipend, tools, and technical assistance. So check it out. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Any signups yet?
Let's see. Ricken?
Anybody?
Ricken Shah.
Okay, come on up. So you can also, you can check out the A4 website, because we put a lot of these opportunities like open calls and things that are on our website. They're grant opportunities and things like that. So all of you filmmakers and other people coming up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Ignore my dog here.
And the next we have Kimberly.
Hey, so I was gonna present today, but I didn't because I didn't prepare a slide. So we shot a short film called Empathy Man. It's about a young Asian American woman played by the influencer Still Not Emily, turns to a superhero named Empathy Man to help her deal with her grandmother's death. It's an entire Asian American production team, and you can follow Empathy Man, the film. Right now, we're looking for online Asian-focused organizations and people to partner with for a screening event that Still Not Emily will be at. So if you're interested in partnering, boom, thank you.
Kimberly Sun.
That's it?
Public speaking is not my forte, so we're gonna do this. I work for KoreanAmericanStory.org. I'm the production manager, and currently we are seeking queer and trans folks to share their stories. We'll be recording in August 4th through 6th in Brooklyn. So if you know anybody or yourself who you would like to nominate or just let them know about the project, we are looking and excited to do the project.
Fran Yu. Fran Yu. I think that's going to be our final 30-second pitch. Fran Yu.
Hi, everybody. My name is Fran, and I'm a co-founder and member of Chinese Artists and Organizers Collective, Cao Collective. So we are a group of Chinese transnational feminists doing organizing and art in New York City and other places in the United States. We are rooted primarily in the Sinophone diaspora. We work with people who want to make art and make spaces to feel pleasure and build a better space for ourselves together. So we're looking for collaborators and just letting people know what we're doing. So yeah, thank you so much.
All right. So I think that is going to wrap up this portion. So please give yourselves a great big hand. I hope you learned something that you'll get to mingle afterwards and share some information. So please take out your phones right now, because I'm not going to let you have any food until you fill out the survey.